I don't have any pictures of the original magnolia tree that I planted for another, but that proved to be a dark and cold path I was on. In fact, it was a cold day that this young tree was whipping back and forth in the wind, and I put some bricks next to it thinking that I would stabilize it. Much like I had been propping up my life in the wrong ways, using the wrong foundations, and the cold wind snapped the young tree right at the level of the bricks. At that time of my life, I was broken also, and it was later that I realized how this tree mirrored what was going on in my life. But soon a growth started coming out the side, not straight yet, but growing nonetheless. And it continued to grow as I continued to grow, not straight yet, but growing nonetheless. There were things in my life that still needed to be pruned and done away with, but at the time I was learning and growing a relationship with the Lord that I didn't have before. There came a time about 4 years after this branch had broke that a sprout started coming up from the center base of this tree. I started using the offside crooked branch as a means of supporting this new growth and keeping it centered to grow straight and true, much like the Holy Spirit was keeping me centered to grow straight and true. As the new growth flourished and got taller, I started cutting back the branches of that old crooked one so that the new growth would have the room to grow straight and true without any hindrances. As in my life, I must decrease so that He can increase in me. After the new growth had gotten tall enough and had cut enough of the I had cut enough of the foliage back in the old growth, it came time to cut the old growth off completely. If you think about it, when God brought the children of Israel into the land of milk and honey, He did not destroy the land or did not drive out the inhabitants until the Israelites were ready to move in, so that they moved into a land that was flourishing and they could take over that land. If I had cut down the old growth too early, the new growth would have had too much of a root system and would not have been stable in growth. And I now have a walking staff from that old growth. Shortly after I cut down the old growth, maybe about 6 months or so, is when I met Lisa. And by that time, the magnolia tree was growing very well and beautiful, 10 to 12 feet high. It was blooming abundantly at the time that we got married, and I was cutting off blooms the week or two before and putting them in the fridge so that they could be used in the centerpieces of the tables of our reception. God can make good out of anything in our lives and use it for good. And now as we move away from that house, it's like a chapter that's been closed. But we have also taken seeds from that tree and look forward to a new magnolia tree that is both ours, as this new house is both ours. Here you can see that old growth is hardly even visible anymore on this tree, as it has become a beautiful, flourishing tree.